I decided to give up on battery-operated and two-stroke operated lawn and garden equipment. And at Tractor Supply the other day, they had one of these Champion generators on sale, and I still had some gift cards left. And the girl actually gave me a extra 10% off coupon at the checkout counter, so I was able to pick up this real nice Champion generator for like $252, which was less than the cost of one battery-operated piece of equipment that I wanted to buy, which was a pole saw. So I decided I'm gonna, kind of head in this direction and, try to use a generator from now on. So, this is a real nice little generator. It weighs, it's a little bit heavy. It weighs about 97 pounds. So it's a little heavy to drag around the yard, but I'm going to make some, changes to it so it's easy to move. And it's got like a 220 volt option on it too. And it's got enough power to run any of my outdoor power equipment, and came with a little funnel there that you see. So, I decided I was going to give it a chance and, just see how it works out. While I was there, Tractor Supply had this Hitch Bracket for marked down on clearance to $9.99, so I grabbed that too, figuring that would be a good way to mount it. And there you see it at the front of my Kubota, and that Hitch Bracket fit right in there, and just going to have to make a couple little changes to it to get it to work. But there the generator sits right on it, nice. Needs a little bit of cutting down and some pieces to provide mounting. You can see the mounting holes in the generator there, and they're the ones I'm going to use, and I'm just going to put some sheet metal up on top of that to hold it in place. And I got a little stick-on level there just to leave on it so I could watch when I'm out in the field, make sure I get it pretty level. And you can see it does sag a little bit in the front, that hitch thing, due to slop in the hitch. So I have to raise up the front about a ½ inch there. So anyhow, I decided to go ahead before I start building anything and fire it up and, just see how it runs and everything else. So they do give you this cool little funnel for putting the oil in it that makes it very easy. And it just takes 0.6 quarts of 10W30 oil to fill it up. And, it's real easy with that funnel. And so that's, really the main thing you have to do, remember to do before starting it up. And then I just wanted to sit it down on the ground because it wasn't really fastened yet before I went any further. I think it holds about 3 gallons of gasoline. So I just, decided to put a little gas in there. And these fancy new spouts, you need something to push down on to turn them on. And, it's kind of hard to find something on something like this. So you always got to fiddle with them. And for some reason, the 2-part spouts like that always tend to drip a little bit and stuff. But I did get some gas, and I put a couple gallons in just to try it out. And I always use high-test gas and try to find ethanol free in my equipment and use a stable marine stabilizer, which I've had good luck with. So, I did get the gas in there, and you can see I still got some drips no matter how careful you are with those new style cans. I sure wish they'd bring back the old caps. But, now I'm ready to, this is the first startup on it. Turn on the gas, put on the choke, and there's a little switch there that you turn on and yank on it. And the darn thing started up first try. I just couldn't believe it. These little Chinese engines are just amazing. No problem. It started right up and running fine right from the beginning. So, of course, I had to try plugging some stuff into it just to see how it worked. And, it's my 15 amp Sawzall, which is about the most power I'd be drawing from it anyway. And, that runs fine. And, no problem, no hesitation. And this is another, I think it's a 500 or 600 watt quartz light when it's on high. And I just put that on there and just let it run for a while with a load, and everything was fine. It sat right on the 115 or the 110 volts, and it does have 220 capability too. So decided to go build a couple of mounting brackets for it. Now the only thing I had laying around was some of this old Unistrut stuff, and this new cold saw really cuts the metal nice. It makes it a real easy job. You can get a quick straight cut, and it's easy to get it exactly where you want, and everything is cool when it's cut, and I've been real happy with it so far. It's been a good addition to my shop. So the first thing I had to do was just cut all these bars to length. I had 2 of them, one for each side of the generator. So that was a quick job with this cold cut saw. And it goes right through. I think this is 14 gauge, these channels, and it just cuts that like butter. So first thing I did is I cut them to length, and then just took them to the sander quick to deburr what little bit of burr was on them. And then it was just a matter of putting the mounting holes in that match the holes on the base of the generator. Figured I'd just try to use the existing holes. So I had to mark out the location of the holes on the channels, and turns out that there's a left hand and a right hand side because of the C shape on them and the way I'm using them. So I just spent a couple minutes just locating the holes, and then a couple center punches, and start by drilling a small clearance hole there. And you can actually see that I'm starting to go back to electric drills and stuff like that too, because I just haven't been having super good luck with the battery equipment and having to replace batteries and stuff. So I'm kind of trying to head back towards some electric stuff. And then that hitch bracket, the hitch mount that I bought, I had to cut down the angles on that, so couldn't fit that on the dry cut saw, so I had to go over to the band saw. And so you do need a couple different types of equipment for cutting stuff, but you can just see how long it takes to cut a small piece of angle with that compared to the other saw. So there it is, basically all cut down, and I used washers to space those front of the rails out to get the generator level, and it was pretty much a real simple job. Then underneath the each of the mounting screws between the generator and the bracket, I wanted to put some vibration dampening rubber pieces in there. So got this little punch set I bought years ago at Grizzly, I think it was, and it makes it a real easy job to punch out some washers quickly to to aid a little bit in the vibration and maybe keep the noise down a little bit. So I just quickly punched them out. So quick spray job with one of the little rattle cans of the Krylon, and there it is, my real simple to make generator mount. Buying that bracket did really help cut down the time it took to make something. And then it was time to put the generator on it, so just set my little isolation washers on there, and turns out I should have probably put some super glue to hold them in place, because things do move around when you try to mount stuff. But I made sure I had one under each mounting hole, and tried to set the generator on there blindly, but without anybody spotting it. I kind of missed the first time and had to go back and shift a little bit, and then just had to fiddle a little bit to get all the washers lined up again. And I'm just using a 8 mounting bolts that come up from the bottom there. Got to snake them into the channel and stuff the way I did it, but it's easy to get them in there. And I just put a washer on, and just a standard nut first, just to hold that bolt in place. And then I went back and put a lock nut on there, and locked the 2 nuts together good, because I really didn't want these bolts to be tight. I wanted them to be just barely snugged up to pull down the washer a little bit, but I didn't want them to squeeze it. So there they are. Everything's all mounted. Took a couple minutes to get everything together and mounted, but it's on there real nice. And I did have to remove the rubber feet from that one side, you can see there. But so here we are, all ready to go, and I'm leaving this little level on there so when I'm out in the yard I can see that I've got the tractor parked so it's fairly level, so I don't have a problem with the low oil alert. Now, a couple weeks ago I had bought this saw at Harbor Freight, a pole saw. I went down to buy a battery operated one, but I just didn't like the looks of them, and I just didn't. I'm a little worried because I've had a lot of trouble with batteries in the past, so I decided to pick this one up for, it was like $59, and I had another gift card that I used on that, so basically I got my pole saw for free, and it does have a nice Oregon chain on it and stuff, so I'm real happy with it. So the first thing you gotta do is carefully get some bar oil in it. Now you gotta go really slow because it's like just a small channel that feeds into the tank for the bar and chain oil. But it is possible to get in there, and then I decided to just try it and make sure that it worked good with the generator, which I don't see a problem. And this stinking generator starts first pull every time. It is just amazing. Hot or cold, it doesn't matter. And there you can see just how fast the generator reacts. When you pull the trigger to start the saw, you can see the generator torque a little bit on the mount there, and it really does a good job, and the saw runs smoothly, and I'm real happy with the combination. So I just ran that for a couple of minutes just to make sure everything was working good, and that we're getting oil to the bar and stuff like that the oiler was working. And there you can see oiler is working fine, and everything's all ready to go. So it's kind of time to look up the trailer and head out in the yard to try to saw out and just see how it works. So now I see this, it really is being a sunny day solution, because I don't think I'd want to run the generator in the rain and stuff, but I do plan on adding a GFI outlet on it in the future. And it's amazing, you don't even know it's there on the front of the little Kubota. It doesn't seem to add any extra strain or stress or anything, and it travels real good, and I still have the ability to pull a cart behind me, which I wouldn't if I had used my big pull behind generator. So this seems like it's just the perfect size for lawn and garden equipment. And I do have I've got this pole saw now, and I've got a 120 volt weed whacker, and I've got my hedge trimmer, and I've got a couple chainsaws and stuff. So this is going to be a lot better than the old battery equipment I used to buy. That's basically obsolete because batteries are no longer available for it, from like the Toro weed whacker or the Ryobi hedge trimmer I bought. So I took it out in the backyard and started trimming along the edge of my property, where I have a lot of problem with these walnut trees. Every year they just grow a couple feet, and they hang down where you're trying to mow, and it just makes it so tough. And they hit the plastic roof on the Kubota there, and just they crack it and they tear it, and the leaves get caught in it. So I usually do this. I used to do this with a handsaw, but it would just take a couple days by the time you got done doing everything and cleaning it up. And I am really amazed how well this little saw cuts. I don't really see any signs of kickback or anything. It cuts good, cuts smoothly. The one thing that I'm going to add next time out is a hard hat, though, because these branches can come down and bounce around on the way down and stuff. But I can reach, I'd say, probably about 14 and a half feet up in the air, and get at the branches with it. It's really not that heavy or anything. I'm really happy with the way it works. When you have it extended out a little bit, you have to you have to hold on to it pretty good, but it's still really not much of a strain or anything using it. So in a couple minutes I was able to pretty much do a lot of damage to those walnut trees that were hanging down. I'm not like a tree surgeon or anything. I'm just doing a hack job here with this, just to make clearance for the mower and stuff, and be able to mow it, and actually to get the walnuts away from my yard too, because they're really a pain when they start coming down and falling on your, you get a windy day and you walk under them or stand under them, and they hurt when they hit you on the head. So this is the first time out with the saw, and I don't know how long it's going to last or anything, but I must say that I really am impressed so far. It just has the power of a gas power tool, and you don't have to worry about starting it or going in the house smelling like two-stroke oil when you're done with the job. So it is a real nice tool, I guess. And there you can see a couple minutes, and it only took me to there's walnuts. For those of you that haven't seen a walnut grow, there's what they look like when they grow. And it's just thousands of these things start falling in the fall, and I just want to get rid of them all because they're like a weed to me. So I got that area cleaned up pretty good, and it's nice having the trailer I can load up behind there. And at the same time, when you pull this saw into the short, pull it all the way in so it's at the short version, it's just an amazing trimming tool there. And the chain seems to be getting the correct amount of oil and everything, and I'm happy with it so far. So there's my first load all loaded up, and I have a big pile for brush on the other side of my yard. The birds and the chipmunks and the squirrels like living in it, so I just keep piling it there instead of wasting the time chipping it. So so far everything's been great with this little generator, and you can see it rides real smooth out front there, and just kind of heading across my backyard here, and there's kind of where I've been trying to re-slope the yard and stuff, and I've got the higher lump out of there, but it's turned into a lot more work than I thought it was going to be. So it's going to take me some time yet to complete that. But anyhow, this generator really does ride nice out there and everything. So looks like it's a good addition to the outdoor tools. And back, dump that load back for cutting up some more. And there you can see when you pull it in short and you use it to trim things up like that and cut pieces up on the ground. It's really well balanced, and you don't have to bend over or anything. It's an amazing tool that I may wind up just using for limbing trees that I take down from now on too, because it's just so easy to use. And there's what happens to your tractor when you hit those hanging down branches. It kind of just keeps beating the roof worst. So I just kind of moved up to another spot to start doing some more, and you can see how easy it is to start there, and it's at the perfect height now too for pulling the handle. So I'm gonna just be trimming some more, and as you can see, the saw does a great job. And I'm really liking to having this mounted so it can be put in any 2-inch receiver mount hitch, because it looks like it'll come in handy in the future for even putting in my truck receiver when you need remote power, or if you have some kind of emergency where somebody else needs power or something. I have the big generator for my house, but this little one will run a refrigerator or stuff like that, or even run an RV if I ever get back into a travel trailer. So it looks like it's going to be handy. It's going to be a lot less hassle than dealing with individual gas tools that you only use once a year, or batteries that become obsolete and can't be replaced on power tools. So I'm happy with the way that I'm headed with this. And the generator does say that it comes with a 3-year warranty, and so it looks like I should at least have 3 trouble-free years. But from all the reviews I've seen online from this generator, it looks like nobody's had a problem with one, so it looks to be a pretty decent unit. And there you can see that's all ripped right through 4-inch log, like no problem at all. It just cuts nice, and there's another load headed off to be dumped, and basically it's doing the job that I bought it for, and it's really impressing me so far. So now back to another section where I've got some maples that have you see a lot of dead branches on them that come down in the wind and stuff. So basically it's a little more of a challenge cutting a dead maple branch, and I'm trying to do a little better job on these because these are trees that you see in the yard. So it's working out pretty good. And as I mentioned before, I'm going to be wearing a hard hat from now on whenever I use this, because you can cut 14 and a half feet up in the air with it, no problem. And you never know where the branches are going to fall. So so there it is, basically cutting some hard maple now without a problem. And right now I have a 50-foot extension cord I'm using, and that's good for about 100-foot diameter. But probably in the future I'll bring out the 100-foot cord, and that'll give me like a 200-foot diameter around the generator to work, which really should be good. Make it a lot. You have to move it a lot less. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe.